USDA Rural Development and the Illinois Electric Co-ops are tied together by a desire to improve life in rural Illinois. In 2020 alone, USDA Rural Development awarded more than $8 million in grants and loans to Illinois businesses and cooperative territories through various programs. Today's session will provide testimony from some of the businesses and co-ops that have benefited from 2020 and prior years' funding. Please welcome Mary Warren, Business Programs Director of USDA Rural Development, who will moderate the session and introduce her panelists.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction and the invitation to come here and be on this panel and facilitate the conversation. As the video mentioned, a lot of what I do is the loan program that many of you have dealt with. Today we're going to kind of shift and talk about a few other things. We're going to talk about fiber in the rural area. I have Glamour Farms Boutique here to my left, Elizabeth Patridge and Stephanie Harrison. They're an online boutique and in the top 10, I think we decided, in the nation since 2015. And then Luke Johnson and Dave Freegain with Wabash Telephone. So I'm gonna facilitate and maybe ask some questions I'm gonna start with Glamour Farms and how fiber has changed your business and catapulted it into the next tier.
I like your mic.
Hello. Maybe. Good morning, everybody. So nice to see everybody's smiling faces. Oh, we're not supposed to do that. Right? Talk forward.
We're all rusty at this since the pandemic.
I know, right? We haven't spoken. So a little funny is I used to attend this conference area as a business education teacher. And so when I came here yesterday, it was a little weird to be on the opposite side for something totally different.
I don't think she ever thought she'd be here for owning a boutique.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a little fun fact. So Stephanie and I both of us used to be teachers, and our business did start in 2013. We had kind of a shift in kind of our vision of what we wanted for our families, and there came Glamour Farms. So we started in 13, and it just happened very quickly, where we were going to be online first and only, and then we had an individual locally that said, hey, will you do a pop-up shop? So we did this pop-up shop, and then it shifted our focus to doing a bricks and mortar. And so what was it, November? Mm-hmm. November 14th of 2013, we did a pop-up shop, and people came from everywhere. I'll let you talk about that. So it was at the Flora Elks, and
we started in our parents' basement. We were both working full-time. She was at my dad's business, our other family business, which is in the heating and air industry. So we've always grown up in family business, I knew that we needed to go. I always had a dream for doing home or clothing, but we found out when the markets dropped, women will still buy clothing because it's a cheap, if things still go astray or go crazy, women will still buy clothing because it's not as expensive, or they will quit decorating their homes, which I'm not sure if we found that in COVID, people want to decorate their homes.
Yeah.
But no, our love for clothing, and then Elizabeth is very good at IT, so you'll hear her talk mostly today. I am just up here I'm I design clothing, so I'm not sure why I'm here.
She's my moral support.
I'm
We're better together.
But no, so we did the pop-up shop and took everything from my parents' basement because we were working full-time. We would work full-time, go to my parents' basement, do things online. People were coming in and out of my mom and dad's house. I know Dad was ready to kill us because they would come in and women would be in and out of their house, and we would be up till 4 and 5 a.m., sleep 2 hours, and go back to our full-time jobs and do it all again the next day. That's how it all started. And then the pop-up shop happened, and we did a store, and
Yes, so it just was it catapulted. The pop-up shop, to answer your question, we went to the Flora Elks. They had a conference area, so we just kind of set up a store. So, but we, of course, it's go big or go home with our family.
Chandeliers
So we had
and all.
chandeliers, we had all the things, we had to build dressing rooms because it was just a conference area just like this. So anyway, people came from everywhere. And I remember that day we were like, holy cow, there's a need for a bricks and mortar space in our location, even though we're in little itty bitty Clay County, Illinois. So then, like I said, we were only going to be online, but that kind of put it on the back burner. So then we decided we found a property in Louisville. We started renovating before we ever closed, and if you guys have ever bought property, that's typically a no-no, right? Like, you don't do anything, and we completely renovated this, our property into what was a house, and we turned it into a boutique. And we did it in 7 days. I ended up with strep throat. We just ran ourselves ragged, and we opened for business it was December 31st, so 2013. It went haywire. Again, website was still on the back burner, but then it would have been, November of 2014, we started our first website. And we have shifted through time. We started with QuickBooks. Again, we were so thankful that we had the fiber because we had very quick, responsive internet to keep things going, but we just found that the platforms we were working on weren't working so smoothly. So we went from a QuickBooks platform. Then if you guys have ever heard of Shopify, we went with Shopify. We worked with them for a while. We had, and then we got introduced to somebody that we're very close to now, and we work with Comment Sold, which allowed a lot more variety in what we get to do. So I think sometimes a website can get stagnant, and with this new platform, we had the option to do live selling and all the things. I'm like, basically live selling is kind of the biggest thing.
Growth happens right now when you're putting yourself out there on the internet. They don't want to be buying from. We've found a lot of your your celebrities that are always so big. Now it's influencers, and so they just wanted to see us. They wanted to see, but we didn't know any of this. This is just who we were. We put ourselves out there, and we would have, even in our little store, we would have people waiting in line from 2 and 3 hours away, and it was just
or people would drive from 8 hours away and be like,
just to come see us.
This is my bucket list item.
This
and we're
is so crazy.
Here?
Yeah, you're coming to Louisville, Illinois?
What? You're crazy.
And so people would ask us, where can we stay? What else can we do? What do we do in this area? We're like, we don't know. So and so that was so important with this comment selling, was putting ourselves in front of the camera and having,
which we hate.
We're both very
we're not good
quiet.
At it.
I am very quiet. Elizabeth likes people around here. I am so quiet. You can't do that on camera.
What you say is you don't like people.
I don't like people. Why am I up here? I'm just kidding.
Let's shift to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And how fiber, you having fiber, your employees having fiber, how many employees do you have now?
Hold on.
I'll tell a side of it while she's looking for that, and then she's going to talk about another. There's two sides of the pandemic. If we wouldn't have had the fiber, we're in rural America, and we are in the top. It's unreal to me, and we stay humble, and until you say it, I'm just like, holy moly, how far we've came, that we're in the top 10 in the nation. And there are so many boutiques out there, but we are the only rural boutique. Everyone else is in very big metropolitan areas where they're pulling from a large crowd. We could not do what we do without our internet and because we are in rural America, we don't have the issues. We were able to stay afloat during the pandemic. We were able to keep things going, but we did have a little glitch, and I'm going to let Elizabeth talk about that.
So whenever the pandemic did happen, again, I'm just going to reiterate, and this truly comes from the deepest part of our hearts, is we were so thankful that we did have fiber, because we all could go home and we could set up our phones and we could live sell from it, and
flawlessly. Because
we had the high-speed internet, we could do that. Well, we had one employee that she's actually the manager of the our media group, and she lives in rural, what's Salem? Marion County. Marion County. And she did not. And she's the leader of the team. And we were trying to Zoom. I'm sure you guys have all Zoomed or something like that. We were trying to Zoom. It was always very glitchy. She couldn't get in, she couldn't get connected, so then we would have to just talk. And then she was trying to do live sales, and her, trying to do all those things where we could all do those from, I did mine from my garage with deer head behind me and my daughter flitting.
Her neighbor peeking in the window.
Yeah, they did scare me, she scared me one night. I was in a live sale because you're so focused in what you're doing, just whatever, and all of a sudden she's there. She had that happen to her too.
The llama head.
Yes. And so anyway, but we had an employee that she could do nothing. So it was one of those things, and we went to Verizon. We panicked, right? So we went to Verizon and we were like, we have to have a MiFi. So we went and did. Now we're stuck in a contract that it didn't even work, and we're paying this, and we're like, she just needs fiber. So we did call, because I think Wabash Services.
We do service
You're
some,
getting there.
some of
Right.
Marion County. Definitely the urban Salem we do service.
So that was the first time, I will say, that we hit the of not
We've been
having
very
it.
spoiled.
And then so she ended up having to come into the store, and which we made it work, but everybody else got to kind of stay in the comforts of their homes during the pandemic, and she came in, which is just, sometimes you have to do what you have to do. But that was really the first time that I think we all take advantage of what you have, right? Until it's taken away. And then you're like, holy cow, like this is, we just don't realize how fortunate we are. Because I will say in Louisville, we've had it
Since 2010.
since
what I said.
2010. Yeah, like forever.
To Mary this morning, I said, how long have we had it? Because it just seemed like second nature. And I'm like, we have been so progressive, and it's phenomenal how progressive you guys have stayed and stayed on top of everything.
It was just very easy for us to make the switch. So I think a lot of times in different areas, I think that the businesses have the high-speed internets, but the homes don't so much. And in our case, again, it was everywhere. We're infiltrated with it. And
We're getting it.
we're getting it. We live in the same neighborhood, and we're finally getting it. We're really excited.
I actually live in Luke's old house, if you want to.
Yeah.
Funny little detail.
She lives in my backyard.
Guys
Or
keep
not
it
really in it,
real
but
close.
we're close. So,
We had to bribe her back some way, so I said, here, I'll just sell you a house.
Yeah,
It worked out really nice. I was grateful
Yeah.
for that, Mary. Appreciate that.
you're welcome.
Perfect.
so I don't know if there's anything else. Just some fun facts about us is, so Stephanie and I own it with our mother also, but she has since retired, and so she's just enjoying getting used to retirement, which I think has been, it's an adjustment. But there's just some little fun facts about us. In 2013, we had 2 full-time employees, and we had about 5 part-time. And now we have 14 full-time and about 30 part-time. So we get to really love on people in our area, which is great because we're very family-oriented. And so we, really work on our work environment. So we're very excited about that. We have over 250,000 customers, and we ship to all 50 states and Canada. And we could ship to more, but we're stuck to what our software company can do. Let's see what else. Here's another little fun fact. So this is showing growth from being bricks and mortar, and I'm not knocking bricks and mortar at all, but what we were doing whenever we had our bricks and mortar versus what we can do today worldwide is in 2017, we had about 100 orders a day. And in 2021, we're on average, so it's higher, it's lower. We have spikes here and there depending on what we're doing, but we're shipping over 1,200 packages a day. And this
Have
was...
any of you guys seen a pink package on your doorstep?
Love it.
Like it? I saw a hand out
Yeah,
there,
I'm like,
too.
Amy,
Maybe.
hey, there's your call out. And one more fun fact, we actually shipped our 1,000,000th order last month. So Yeah, pretty cool.
I'll just
Do you need us to say anything else? Because we become windy when we're up here. We're like nervous, and then it's like, okay, what do you want to talk about?
I'll just throw a comment in too, asking about, has anybody made a purchase? I'm a Wisconsin native. I work in Louisville, live in central Illinois, very rural area. My daughter called and said, Dad, I was just online and I just ordered something from Glamour Farms. Said, do you know them people? Do you know where it is? And I said, yeah, it's right on the south end of town. So another, small world.
Such a small world.
Very small world. And we meet people everywhere. It's funny too. So.
Yeah, you're going to be neighbors with them soon.
They're moving
when
in.
you move into your new building.
Yes.
Should we talk about that?
We should.
I think we should. Luke?
Yeah, so we got the opportunity to help them and get a Red Leg loan for them, thanks to Mary. And of course, Barry approached us and Dave on sponsoring one. And so, yeah, we got them $1 million. And
thank you very much.
yeah, no problem. But, for us, Wabash is huge in our area. You talk about little Clay County, but we're small but mighty. Because of Wabash, really, and the fiber rings. We're blessed to have fiber at every sub. I know we have very few subs, but we'll take it, and so we just finished an AMI deployment, and, to be able to get those readings so fast, and even at home, I have it. I didn't have it for a while. I had copper until they finished our area, but, I couldn't wait to get on.
Sure.
So yeah, it was, when they asked if we could do, the board was just 100% in favor of that, and the resolution was passed, and away we went. So we just completed that loan earlier this spring, and so.
We're moving in, actually yesterday and today, we're moving into the new corporate office. So it's, a disaster zone, but we're very, very thankful, again, to both of you for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, and it was, so you drive by there and just to know that we were able to help to contribute to that. And like I said, because you contribute to us and you contribute to the local businesses, and for us to just have it over 80, or probably right around 85%, we were talking about that, about 85% of our counties is broadband fiber. And so, for us to help develop the country, we have Clay Water and we have Wabash, and we've actually, Wayne White sponsored a loan for Red Leg loan for Clay Water to improve their AMI. So we were able to do that on a 10-year, which, your life expectancy of AMI, it kind of turns out just right, just FYI, if you guys want to do one through somebody. But we're currently working with Wayne White in the city of Fairfield on doing an AMI Red Leg loan. We've just submitted all the paperwork as of probably, end of May, June?
I just did last
Okay,
week.
so she just got it, but, so waiting for approval on that one, but that'll be a good help to assist Wayne White with their ventures with the city of Fairfield, so.
And I think Wabash, Clay Electric, and Wayne White is a really good example of cooperatives helping other cooperatives.
Absolutely.
Because what is that, 3 or 4 that we've done amongst kind of helping each other out, and I guess the true model of what a cooperative is.
And not to mention, all of the other entities, the Wabash General Hospital, they did a $11 million addition to their hospital. The North Clay Fire District needed some fire equipment, so we went through Mary and got them some new fire equipment also. So, this is available to all of you as borrowers. So.
Yeah. You guys just started participating, what, 3 or 4 years ago at most?
Probably. Yeah, it's probably been around 4 years ago. Our first loan was to Harder Stanford Township Fire Protection District, and to get them a bucket truck, lineman here, but a fire truck, and so they've been very blessed with that. And it was one that was they could use for the factories in town, because they have that need, and just the availability of pumping. And the capacity they needed to do that, so they were very grateful for that. So yeah, it's all been a blessing, and it's good to come together, like Mary said, cooperative principles, cooperation among cooperatives. So for us to help others out and to be helped out by others, that was very generous and gracious. 0% is nice, and just to have an intermediary between that, it's.
And you get to work with me.
And you know what? We get to see her a lot.
Probably too much.
No, never, Mary.
I am fortunate in Illinois. I think Illinois is second to Iowa in the nation with leading the charge in Red Lake. And Iowa, as most of you know, they have actually a dedicated group that does every single application for the co-ops. We don't have that. It's either the co-op's doing it, or they might hire a grant writer, or I'm doing it with them. So ours is truly a group effort, and for us to be right under Iowa is a huge accomplishment. So thank you to all of you that participate in the program. And the association for highlighting it in the magazine, we appreciate that too.
Yeah, and some of the other services that we are offered, at our substations, we have camera equipment now, we wouldn't have that before without, a really expensive, very costly to get the substation equipment in there. And so now we have switches in there. We can get the cameras set up. And, for different reasons, we like to be able to see if we have an outage or high side fuse is blown. We like to be able to get in there and review the footage. And so we have that capability now because we have the portal there at the sub. So yeah, and also at our office, and I got the quote for, a private entity to come in and install cameras. And I'm telling you, it's dirt cheap. Don't raise your rates, but it's dirt cheap to go through them, and you could lease equipment off of Wabash. I mean, their services they provide are just phenomenal. So yeah, again, just to be able to have that capability in our subs, both to read the meters and to SCADA, whatever we need.
I'm probably preaching to the choir here too, but I think probably the largest benefit maybe to the electric co-ops and the substations, and their monitoring equipment is the reliability. I've been doing this 42 years, and I've spent a lot of times, a lot of nights, evenings, early mornings, weekends in substations in the copper days where things just, turned black. And so, the fiber optics, the reliability is just incredible.
It is. We had RF prior to this. We had RF, and so that was intermittent. We would have issues with the coax or whatever. And now, honestly, we've had it in probably for a year and just pretty flawless. It's really nice. So yeah, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Dave, do you have any fun facts to share about Wabash?
I was just going to clarify one thing on, I said earlier, yes, 2010, we've been delivering the internet since about 1992. Our first fiber cable went in 1988. We started, I think, DSL in about 1998, which is your higher speed internet. When I say high speed, some of you may still have it today, in that 3 to 8 megabit per second. Today we're serving Glamour Farms with 1 gigabit of service. They started with us in, I think, their current location. I did some stats. You had wired up 65 locations. We went in and wired stations inside. So, but you started out with 100 megabits download, 1 megabit upload, and you're currently at 500 upload and a gig download speeds. So you've come a long way. 3 times you've increased your speeds.
Yes, and I'll say with that, then that helps us whenever when we're going live, because we've had it on both sides but we stream so smoothly and quickly, and so it's because of the upload speeds and the download speeds, and it's very important. I was going to say another this may be random, but I'm a creature of habit, and I love to, whenever I get used to, like a car dealer, right? I go to the same guy. Brian's my guy. So I go to Brian. I like to go to the same people. I think that's something that when I lived away, we had some more corporate, not that you guys aren't corporate, but it's still that small town feel, and I appreciate that about Wabash. Not only are we from Louisville, it's always been in Louisville, but I love the fact that I can always get a hold of somebody, and again, that just goes along with, that's kind of what we do too. We want our customers to feel at home. It's not some big box store where you're just a number or you're just a customer number. You have a name and you mean something to us, and I feel that way with, having the co-op. It's just, you kind of forget. I was just sitting up here kind of going, I'm very thankful for that. you know, so.
And I'll back that comment up too, you know, as well as I do. When you can reach out to your co-op, and it's kind of made us take a step back too. Their accessibility is so nice. We can get on the phone with any of them pretty quick and communicate, you know, where, like she said, you get into Verizon or Frontier or different ones. It's a process. It's about like dealing with Ameren on the electric side. So, you know, yeah, you know how that is. And Marcia really does. But no, so for us to deal with them is always a complicated process, but it really brought it back to our attention too as a co-op to say, hey, you know, we need to be accessible. We need to stay that way, and so our members can reach out to us. I had one call me yesterday, as a matter of fact, with an issue, and nothing big, but it's just to be available for them and for them to be available for us and our businesses and community is so important, and it's really kind of a sweet thing. So anyway, I get cheesy.
Clay County is where it's at. Is what
It is small and mighty.
Well, and I think it is fair to mention, I now live there. I'm back. I moved from Champaign, and I'm working from home still with rural development due to the pandemic. And I mean, it's crucial to me, for sure. I don't even have fiber yet, but I still have good internet.
You're very
For
close.
my
though.
work.
You're very
Oh
close.
yeah, they broke down in my backyard.
She did have high-speed internet via coax copper
Yeah.
through us,
Yes,
so
I did.
it's not like she was out. But
And I think it's relevant. They had a cousin that moved back from Nashville, Tennessee. That was just over the city life. There's no way they could have done that without them having fiber at their home because they're working from home. So we're very blessed and fortunate. They've mentioned it. Luke's mentioned it. We appreciate Wabash Telephone.
I just want to make you know, Barry Adair couldn't be able to be here today, so I took his place. And I want to say Barry Adair started in 2015, and Wabash Communications has doubled its size since 2015, thanks to Barry Adair. And a lot of what we're talking about comes from the vision of that man. I'm very blessed to be working alongside him. And again, Clay County, very blessed. And you know, for all of you that are considering getting into the fiber business, there's a lot of money available today, and there's still areas that just keep coming back up. It was in the last CAF 2, it was in the last RDOF. So there's monies out there, and you know, if you kind of feel like those areas may be tightening up, or there aren't areas for you, I felt that way maybe a couple of years ago, but the more we get into this, the more I see the availability and the need, you know, in the rural for fiber. So Glamour Farms is a classic example of success, again, being the only one not in an urban area. Fantastic story about, you know, what fiber can do for your members.
And just to talk too, we have a wooded subdivision south of town, probably 4 miles out there. And one of the appealing aspects of that subdivision is it's kind of funny to think they have fiber on site, water on site, and electric on site. You know, and so it has caused a blip in us. You know, of course, in Illinois, there's not a lot of load growth, or at least, you know, people moving in, and so, you know, we've seen some people migrate out to the community, you know, the rural community on account of that. But, you know, just to put you on the spot a little bit, if you don't mind, there's 85% of the county is covered in fiber. What is the plans for the rest of the 15%, just in case I get a member ask?
We're currently, what's left today is a lot of the eastern side of the county. We're currently, we just finished up Sailor Springs. We're in Clay City. They're in between Clay City and just south of Clay City currently, so that'll take up most of the eastern side. The northwestern side, in the last RDOF auction, it escapes me who ended up with Edgewood in that area, but it won't be long, and all of Clay County, the entire county, rural southern Illinois, will have fiber to the premises. We've just reached out to the county as well. If there's any little pockets or areas, we're actually going to partner. You may want to partner with the state, you may want to partner even with your local government, but we're going to ask the county to partner with us, because these federal funds, when they see other government entities you know, joining together, that just makes your application, stand out just that much more, and the ability for you to be able to get those, your anchor institutions, your hospitals, schools, libraries, hospitals, those things are really key. So if there's areas that you cover that you don't have, that's what you want in your application. That's the way you want to look at it. So,
and you've also partnered with EJ Water.
We have
correct?
also partnered 3 years ago with EJ Water. They are the largest, second largest RUS borrower for water in the continental United States. So we put water in we put fiber and water in the same trench, so the cost savings there is, again, one trench, both services. And they're also looking at doing their metering or their SCADA over these, the water metering over the fiber. So again, reliability there just as, I've been doing this 42 years. I went through, I worked on electromechanical switches in the late 70s, and here we are. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that there would be data in a house. When we were serving data in the early 80s to banks via copper, and it's just, and then to be doing a gig to a premise is just incredible.
We can keep talking, I'm sure, but does anyone have any questions for the panel? I don't want to cut it short.
I was just going to say, I live in a literal log cabin about 6 miles south of Salem in Marion County, and I have 1 gig for life from Wabash for $70. And I have a friend who's running an IT business, nationwide IT business, out of my house, out in the country in a log cabin because of Wabash.
Awesome.
So it is critical. What are your plans for Marion County? You talked about Clay. What are the plans for Marion County?
We currently, there's an NTI grant out, and there are, I think, about 7 telephone cooperatives and commercial companies right now. We're going after $70 million in Marion County and southern and western Marion counties included in that, whether we'll get it or not, but we're not going to stop trying. And it's that particular grant is a 90% grant, 10% match. You're going to get 90 cents on every dollar that you spend. It's huge, and it's out there. It's out there every day. We can't hardly keep up with the applications applying for it. You don't win them all, but if you don't try, you don't get them.
Scott?
We're looking real serious into partnership, with somebody with fiber. Our big problem is easements. Our attorney advises us we have easements for electricity, we don't have easements to run anything else. How are you getting around that?
In my early days, we never deployed any facilities anywhere unless it was on private easement. We're doing road right away today. We just don't have, as fast as we're moving, we don't have time to worry about a road move. If there's a road move, we're going to put a new facility in. So I still like the easement side, for the cost of having to move a facility and a road move. I think it's more secure than it is, on the roadside. But overall, to my surprise, being 42 years in the industry, very, very little trouble with facilities being damaged or having to be moved.
Okay. I'm not sure what time our panel ends. We've got 5 minutes. Who wants to take over?
Go ahead. On you, Dave. Now, we were on a job, Scott, one of theirs, just kind of just looking it over and watching where they were doing, because of course we have clay water in there, and we have, they've asked, we're getting ready to do a phase 4 extension. We're in the process of doing that through rural development, getting loans through that, and so they had just thrown out there if we had any extensions that we needed in our area. So, sometimes just partnering with maybe something like that, but again, we were on site the other day just looking their operations over, and they're right along the roadside. Matter of fact, right on the edge of the road is And so that's all, over a big portion of the county. We have probably very few pole attachments. Everything is underground. So for us, we just made them go in and get new easements, for those poles that they attach to from the landowner. But they're pretty well putting right alongside there, and so it's not a lot of need.
And I will say too, the easement side, it's just so time consuming. Again, it bothers me because I'm old school and I like our facilities on easements. But to date, even our last RUS loan, we're currently overbuilding. We bought Montrose Mutual Telephone Company just north of us. They are 4 exchanges contiguous with the 9 original exchanges that we have. That was a commercial company, still is a commercial company. So it is a subsidiary today. That too, as an RUS contract, is being buried right on the side of the county road. And I guess as I get older and life moves on, I guess I've learned that I got to be a little more flexible. So even our incumbent telephone companies were burying on the side of the road. So obviously, your power, maybe a little bit different story, but fiber optics, other than its reliability and people rely on it. Other than that, if it gets dug up, nobody's going to get hurt.
Yeah, and we like it because it keeps them out of our area, because we're just on the other side of the ditch, and so we don't have to contend with them a lot of times on that, because they've had some pretty squirrely installers in the past, that like to zigzag throughout the way, so it makes it hard to set poles and build a straight line.
I think the man has a comment over here.
Curious if you have you inspired other entrepreneurs? Are you mentoring others on your style of business locally?
Yes, and I think that we belong to a group. When we very first came into the industry, it was very cutthroat. And in our area, boutiques were not a thing. We knew of them because we had a lot of family that lived in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and we would go down there for holidays and come back, or we'd be on vacation in Florida and we'd come back and everyone would be like, "We love your clothes." And people would say, "We love boutiques, but they're not cut for real," this is a whole nother side of it, but they're not cut for, real women. And we saw it as a thing in the Midwest. Women are not made like we're not cut like a Korean woman. And that's who they were using as their models. And we have, like I keep saying, as cliche as it sounds, God has put the most amazing people along our paths that just keep opening doors and opening doors and opening doors. And we don't take no easily for an answer. So if a door would shut, we just kept banging. And we just kept finding the pathways to work with LA, to work, just finding, even though we're in rural America, you can still do big things. And I think that was such a thing that trying to get that mentality even to the, I know that we've brought in, what's the program where the kids come in?
CEO from
Thank
Wayne
you.
County.
Yeah. And, just teaching them that, like, even though you're in rural America, go dream big, do big things. That was one thing I was going to say. But the other thing is, being in the cutthroat industry, we have learned the industry has changed and made a shift. We're in a thing, it's called the Boutique Hub, and then they have like I think it's called like the Millionaires Club or something. Yeah. But through that, we mentor each other, we help each other, we learn from each other, and then we'll also help the ones that are growing. And we're contacted daily for advice.
Well, the thing is everybody starts somewhere. It doesn't matter what business you're in or what you're doing. We all start from the ground up, right? Yeah. So you understand, and sometimes you forget, but then you quickly remember, like, how hard it was.
And it's not an overnight success, and trying to get them to...
And I think that there were a lot of ones that spawned in our local area because just being cut and dry, I think we made it look easy. And people will say, "Oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, what you guys do is so fun." And I'm like,
they just saw the travel and the...
I've been to market with them. It's exhausting.
It's
absolutely exhausting.
It's exhausting. And because on the front, like what the customers see, it does look fun. It looks glamorous. It looks all those things. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not. And so, but we love what we do.
Lots of long hours.
And so I think there were a lot that kind of spawned from that idea. Are they still around? No. some are, some aren't, but, so, it's a very copycat business too. It's one of the #1 copycat of businesses. But then you get to the point, I remember we actually talked about something the other day, but we had like a non-compete, which if you all know, those don't really hold up in court. But they advised us to do it. And because it was new back when we started, and now it's to the point we don't care. It's okay. Like, we've gotten to that point where it was cutthroat, like Stephanie said. You didn't want to help each other. It was like, nope.
Room for all of us.
And now it's like, there's room for all of us. Like, we're in this together. It's an industry. It's a huge industry, but very small. Everybody knows everybody. It's like living in Clay County.
Well, and the thing that we've learned is, and I'm sure that this goes for every industry, but trying to teach people about where your clothes are coming from. And there's a big push right now, and I don't want to step on toes, but I may, about it's coming from the organic cotton farmer. No, it's not. It's coming from the same people. We know where these things are coming from. We are there. We are in the trenches. We know where these things are coming from. We're all making them in the same place. We are all trying to get things made in America. It's not possible on everything, as much as we're striving for it. We need, there's so much growth that needs to happen on the American side of the clothing industry. But this shirt is being made in the exact same factory as this shirt that they're going to put in Nordstrom and make you charge, or they're going to charge another $30, $40, $50 for it. It's the exact same shirt with a different tag in it. So it's just trying to, we want to teach the consumer that. So that's kind of where our hearts are. As our hearts are, we kind of went all over the board, but as our hearts are training these kids in rural America there are so many things you can do, and raising them up. So I think our hearts, being in the teachers, our teachers' heart come out, and we want to, I think more working with younger generation of dream big, dream big.
I think the catchphrase right now is sustainable. Sustainable this, sustainable that, and it goes back to, it's the same shirt that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we should start calling ours sustainable.
It's just, there's so much that goes into it.
It's a buzzword right now.
It's just like everything else.
It's all the same stuff. So if you didn't know, you're welcome. You can get the same stuff from us that, like she said, Nordstrom. I mean,
we work with a lot of Nordstrom's.
Yes.
We design with a lot of Nordstrom's factories.
Yep.
So they're good friends of ours. So it's just a small world as much as it's.
Sometimes, and I do appreciate, well, we all do, too. She does too. Appreciate nice things, but there are some things you can't, that are just what they are.
Yeah.
But that's something that, we do the same thing. So anyway, food for thought.
Just wanted to add one thing. One of our partners is in the crowd, Vantage Point. Kevin has been a friend of mine for years. They helped us put together our calf twos, and we won those about a year and a half ago, I guess. So, partner up with good consultants, to help you guys get on your way. They're working on something actually with us currently. The project that we just talked about in Salem, that's in progress as we speak. Vantage Point's working with us on that project today. So thanks very much for helping us get that.
Well, I will wrap it up with a plug for myself. Luke talked about Red Lake, the Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program. Many cooperatives in Illinois have participated, telephone and electric, and we have a few municipalities that have as well. But if you haven't participated yet, I would encourage you to at least consider it. Call your neighbor co-op, pick their brain, see what they think. It's really a good program to use. It benefits your members, usually all of them, like a hospital project. It's just a good community thing to do. Hopefully those of you who have participated would agree, and you like your customer service too. Okay, Nancy, are we set?
Thank you. Thank you.